This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the City of Leominster, and thanks for joining us. We're live each and every Thursday, except for a couple times during the year. We moved to 6:30, but today we're live and 4 to 5 o'clock, and you can catch us, you can catch us by watching Facebook, and LTV also has a Facebook site. You can catch it on Verizon, you can catch it on Comcast, and on demand later on. So they do show it a couple of times during the week. And we hope to keep you informed. If there's a subject matter that you would like to hear more about, always let us know. And we'll be glad to, maybe there's an interesting guest that you'd like to see us invite in. And if that's the case, that'd be perfect. Let me know. And our phone number here is 978-534-1626. That's 978-534-1626. And, well, geez, I don't know about, I mean, I know people like skiing and cross-country skiing and skating. And I like all of those, snowshoeing. But I really can't complain about this winter. But let's check in with that and see how he's doing this winter.
Well, that's another story at another time.
Okay.
I have never thought I took anything for granted until the situation that I'm in now, that there is so much to do, not only to survive, but to maintain. Clean the house, do the laundry, go food shopping, pay the bills. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
Fold the towels, fold this, go in the closet. My goodness, I must have taken it for granted because I'm doing it all now. Cutting coupons. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, it's a full-time job.
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. And, you know, everyone has been wonderful.
Good.
I went in to pay the sales tax, and the young lady there remembered me and knew what I was going through, and she was just so, I think for lack of a better term, she was so delicate with me. And it was wonderful.
Good.
And I appreciate things like that. And our friends, I mean, I'm marking stuff in the refrigerator because I don't want it to go bad because there's been a line of people who are bringing me food.
They associate with you with food and the lack of ability.
It always comes back to that. And there's a shocker too, by the way, with me in the food line. See, usually I would sit in the car and people watch. Now
Yes.
I have to reach into the wallet. And I look in the basket and I see 10 items and I say 50, what?
Yeah. Put it in 6 bags so I feel better.
Oh my, yeah, there you go. Split it up, will you? Give me about 15 bags.
Everybody walks out reading their receipts.
Everybody has
I do.
turn.
I'm looking like I'm walking out and I'm reading. I'm not even looking at my phone. I'm like, how much? How much is that? A can of peas? How much?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Sure is.
But anyway, it's been that kind of a week. And another thing, I don't know if it's things for people to think about, but we've always done everything with both our names on everything. Now we've got to change it all.
Yeah.
And the red tape.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, yeah.
And the stuff you have to bring to prove who you
Oh,
are.
yeah. Oh, yes. I know. Believe me. I don't wish it on anybody.
But you know, the ones that I thought were going to be difficult were the easiest, like Social Security. That was A, B, C, D, and done.
Well, that's what they do.
But lengthy, and you're upset. It's not. They don't. It used to be. You didn't like going to the registry.
Right.
But I think this is 10-12 worse.
Yep.
But we've done it, and I got to cut you short now because I think the dryer just shut off.
Do you have an apron? Do you have an apron? Do you need one?
No.
No.
Then I have to get my dinner ready. I got to take the wrapping off it and put it in the microwave. My electric bill's going through the roof because I haven't used the stove. I've been using the microwave.
I bet.
So, have a good one.
All
my
right.
friend. Be well.
All right, Art. That's the plan.
All right.
Good to talk to you. That's Art from the Art Report. As you know, his wife passed, and it was an operation that was really sort of nothing, like emergency or anything. And through complications, he lost her, and he's realizing, right? Like isn't that we all just make assumptions, or we all just take things for granted? That's everybody. That's not just him or a few people. That's everywhere and everybody. All right, 978-534-1626. We're going to take a short break, and then we have a guest. Mark Bodanza is coming in, and we're going to be talking about Johnny Appleseed. Why? Why you say Johnny Appleseed? Well, it's going to be his birthday. Not just any birthday. This is like a big one. And so you can learn all about it, as how the city is going to celebrate the birthday of Johnny Appleseed, also known as John Chapman. We'll be right back. Here we go. Hey, we're back here inside Leominster. I'll tell you the rest of the story later, but it's basically, can we stop the trains? I'm like, no, there's nothing we can do. Just a couple of things. Great attendance, I'll tell you. We've been working for several years now trying to organize a whole calendar of events with the rec department and library and city hall and it's really gone well. All of the activities this year, this season for this week have really gone well, and we find that it's building that solid calendar. Parents start looking for it a week before, and it just came from the library where they had they had a kangaroo, and I don't know, they had things I've never seen, and packed house, and that's the way it's been. And tomorrow is Once Upon a Time, and that starts at 10, I think, and gets over about 2. And we have we have Snow White, and we have a ton of people that will be there, and there's things to do. And also, before I forget, it's an opportune time for people to dress up, for young kids to dress up. You know, they have those Cinderella costumes, and you know the drill, right? Anyway, tomorrow, City Hall, that's Friday, and just a whole list of things, even through the weekend, things to do at the library, like craft, meet, and greet with Angela Thomas and her therapy dog tomorrow. That's 10 to 11 over at the public library. And then Galaxy Jazz, February 23rd, is 1 to 2. So plenty of things going on. It's been like, Nick Walk starts at 4 o'clock. So it's just starting now up at the conservation area, at Doyle Conservation Area. And there's just tons and tons of things, and well attended for everything that we've done. It's also closing in on the end of Restaurant Week. So everything that I'm talking about, you can find on leominster-ma.gov. That's leominster-ma.gov. You can also find it if you're on Facebook at Leominster Community Development. So we took care of that. So there are a couple of things that are just starting. I don't know if you can make them up there, but Nick Walk, we call it Nick. He's the conservation agent, and he goes out in the woods in various seasons of the year, various locations, and he knows a lot about what's in them. And today you're going to be talking trees. There are things you don't know about certain species and variety of trees for the winter, like what color they might be, or do they have berries on them. Well, that's what a Nick Walk's all about. All right, we've got, let's see, plenty of time. 44 minutes left here in Inside Leominster. 978-534-1626. Mark Bodanza's here with us this afternoon.
Nice to see you, Dean.
Got all that out of the way now so we can chat. Because all this stuff is like all over the place. It's like in the morning when I'm trying to do a brief. This is like stuff everywhere. I think it's like making a recipe. Put 2 of this in and 3 of that. But we really put, we're trying to get it centralized so everyone knows. If you want to know what to do, not any time, just any time, but more particularly what's going on like school vacation or summertime. Sure. And we're just finding that everyone has their own calendar, but we never really merge them together for one easy place for everybody to go to. Like, just
makes sense.
Here's today, here's Monday, here's Tuesday. Here it is. Here's what's going on. And we've got that many activities that we really have to do it by day rather than one master schedule for. And it's fine. Everybody has their individual things. But boy, some people go away for vacations, but a whole lot of people just, they're here. And I just talked to a friend in Florida, and he says it's cool out there. He said it's been a cool winter.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And I said, well, for us, it's kind of been warm.
Interesting.
Anyway, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
I know that you could talk about a million things, so you can talk about anything you want. It's fine with me.
Well, but I got a million things going on.
Yeah, so we got to kind of channel it, but you could prioritize if you want to talk about the city council part, if you want to talk about the history part.
My colleagues honored me with being elected to the council presidency back in January, so that's always, being on the council is busy, but the council president has a few more duties.
Yeah, of course.
But it's, it's something that I enjoy doing. I'm the chair of the board of trustees at the library.
Yeah.
And the library, as you know, is just an amazing asset we have in the city of Leominster, and I got involved with it through the building committee years ago when we put on the addition, and it's just been a pleasure ever since.
Yeah, I remember when we first, started talking about, the renovation and the addition. We were just getting to that point where we were beginning, like artificial intelligence, we were just beginning to understand the internet.
Right.
But very, very much on the surface. We didn't really understand the full potential, good and bad.
Yeah.
So while we were trying to do that, you got this thing called the internet kicking around, and you could get music off it. You can read things, and you could, get Kindle, and then all of a sudden it was, are we really going to need a library? And I think once we opened it, people realized you still need a library.
Well, they're publishing more books today than ever.
Right.
Really, by 100%, it's grown in the last generation. So, I mean, publishing is more egalitarian. People that couldn't publish years ago can now publish
tell their
books.
story, sure.
So, people write for a variety of reasons, whether it's to entertain, inform, or for the legacy. But my involvement in the library is pretty interesting because I've discovered the valuable resources at the library, the antique stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Leominster history, and I got involved there right around the time that the library addition was coming up. And you might remember there was a member of the city council that wanted to put it out to debt exclusion,
right,
which would have been the death knell of the project.
Yeah.
And I went and spoke against that. And I was probably one of the few people who wasn't actually a library staffer
right,
or a spouse.
Yeah.
So that sort of landed me on the building committee.
Yeah, well, that happens.
But I really was amazed by the resources there, the local historical resources, and that just kind of got me going, got the juices flowing for all the history I've written over the last since 2009, actually since 2003. I was writing plays back in the early part of that decade. 2009, we did that reenactment football game. I wrote a book that I thought would sell 100 copies to my family and friends. It did much better than that. And here we are 14 books later. And the 13th book was a book about Johnny Appleseed that I knew I had to write sooner or later.
Yeah. There's so much here. And so I was in, I don't know, last month we were in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, which is a cool town. It used to be the chocolate town. There was chocolate around there. And there's a big production company out there. I mean, it's gotten its own thing. And so one of the local historians said something about, this is an interesting town. I said, I bet it is. And it really is. Every town really is.
Everybody says something.
Yeah, and he says, we're famous for the mousetrap and Listerine. He goes, they bring in Listerine in tankers. And I said, wow, that's great. And then I unloaded it. And I said, well, guess what? And I just started going through Buckskin Sam, Johnny Appleseed, Robert Cormier. I mean, I just started going on and on and on.
Right.
And Tupperware and Foster Grant sunglasses. And you just go on for days.
We have an incredible bevy of people that have lived here and innovated, taken risks. It's amazing. But one of the first people that really gets some notoriety, who's born here is Johnny Appleseed, John Chapman.
Yeah. Everybody wishes they could have a John. In fact, even if he walked through your town, at one point, he could have just went on a little piece of Maryland, and they were like, Johnny Appleseed was here.
So I wrote this book last year, richly illustrated by a local named Steve Ledger, amazing talent, lots of illustrations inside as well. And as I was doing the research and getting the book prepared, I realized that this year is the 250th anniversary of his birth.
That's right.
September 26th, 1774. Yeah, it sure is. And I said, well, look, we got together, we talked, and we said, let's make it special.
Yeah.
So we've been meeting in a committee, and we've got a whole host of activities planned for this fall in commemoration. It might be the viewers might be interested to know they did this 50 years ago.
Yes.
For a 200th anniversary of his birth. And that actually won an award from the National Bicentennial Commission.
Wow.
Because the bicentennial really started in 1774, the First Continental Congress. So they started having bicentennial activities really 2 years before the Declaration of Independence celebration. And Leominster won the very first bicentennial award nationally for the work they did on Johnny Appleseed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So here we are 50 years later already, and we're talking about, another celebration.
And it coincides with the Tea Party. I mean, there's a whole lot of history here that goes beyond. So it's an exciting year here in Massachusetts.
We've got a coin minted that will be selling, from the City Hall later this year. We got a calendar that will come out later this year, with all the events on it. We're going to put the 5-cent folklore series stamp with Johnny Appleseed on it on the calendar for a limited number of those, and we'll have them postmarked on the key date. I know the library is doing a ball. I think it's October 5th.
Oh, cool, huh?
We're
still looking at the parade thing, that we can get enough energy into the parade and get enough people. With parades, you just got to have a whole lot of people.
Right.
to help organize
big
it.
undertaking.
And we did that, the centennial here, for the city.
Yeah.
And when Anna and Stacia and all them were here.
Right.
And it was a whole lot of work for a whole lot of people, but it went
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
So we got it out there to people like, hey, we can't do this without getting some help.
The Historical Society will be doing an interpretive exhibit, which really is in context, his birth in context. Because if you think about it, 1774 is a major year in Leominster, not because of his birth alone, but it was the year they moved the common from the front of Pine Grove Cemetery to where it is today. It was the year that...
Because, is it true? I mean, what I was told is the first town hall was actually at Pine Grove.
That's correct.
And
yeah.
And people always ask, like, why is it kind of set up the way it is over there? And I said, I think the road was closer.
Right.
And in reality, the railroad owns, and this is a trivia if it ever comes up, but Saturday night you're sitting around talking about it, the railroad actually owns almost like, no, they do own right up to where the Pine Grove Cemetery starts.
To the wall. Yeah.
We always thought, we always went for permission from the Historic Society, or commission. When we went and did anything, we didn't even own the land. So what I suspect is before the automobile, it was probably a cow path or something there, closer to where the railroad tracks were.
First, where the rail easement is, long before the rail easement was taken, was the first town hall built in 1742, wood frame structure.
Right.
When they moved down to where the common is now, they disassembled it and sold it to the town of Harvard. And then they built a brand new second.
Is that still there?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so.
The second meeting house was built basically right across the street from where Subway is, with the front part of the common.
Okay.
And there's a monument there to this day. And that was the third meeting house. So that was a big event in 1774.
Right.
The other thing that happened was, like I said earlier, the Continental Congress was organizing.
This thing's set
National history. And then last but not least, 1774, Obadiah Hills brings the comb industry to Leominster.
Right.
So we're going to put all that stuff.
So at the very beginning of this pre-industrial revolution, and oh, by the way, things is heating up with the British, right? I mean, that's
it's wild how much was going on.
If you watch John Adams or any of these things, you can see this is all happening at the same time. It's as you say, the comb industry, real comb.
So we're going to put an exhibit together that has all of this in context, what was going on at that time when he was born, in Leominster. So it's going to be a great exhibit that'll open up later this year, probably sometime in August at the Historical Society. I know the schools are going to do some special things. So there'll be a lot of events.
It's a lot to be proud of. And we were talking about, we were at this economic development forum, and this lady was trying to say to everybody, hey, everybody, look into your history of your town, because these are the things you can capitalize off of. And I remember, I'm trying to think of who it was. I forget which person, and I drove, just before MapQuest and everything, I drove aimlessly to look for, I'm trying to think, somebody like a buckskin Sam, and I drove aimlessly to find this thing, and it's a little rock on the side of the road. I had to stop and ask 10 people. So she was saying, from an economic development standpoint, hey, listen, look at your history. There's something either manufactured or something that's interesting about it. She goes, everybody has a Johnny Appleseed, and the person next to me knew that we had, and she raised their hand and said, he's got one for real.
Your story's in the book.
We got one for real.
Yeah, your story, I recounted that in the book.
That is funny, though, because...
He was, Johnny Appleseed himself is a really interesting character. Yeah. I learned so much about him. I'm glad I wrote the book, but tasting a thing, including his clothing. I mean, he just put old clothes on top of old clothes. Right. He planted apple seeds, not grafted apple trees. Even back then, as far back as 3,000 years ago, the Chinese were grafting apple trees because an apple seed contains up to 100 different varieties of trees. So if you plant an apple seed, you have no idea what kind of apple tree you're going to get. So people wanted special apples, even in his time. Right. They didn't plant seeds. He did that because he was on the frontier. On the frontier, apples were important not to eat, but to turn into apple cider,
Hard cider.
vinegar, make vinegar with, and that's what they needed for on the
But how about
Pioneer.
land acquisition? Part of the thing was you could assemble parcels of land
Yeah.
if you farmed it or
Yeah.
planted things on it at the time. They were looking for somebody,
And
agriculture.
he was a missionary as well. He was a Swedenborgian. He followed the religion of Emanuel Swedenborg, who's an interesting character. It's a big, long story, but Swedenborgians believed that heaven was like a literal place. So this is one of my favorite Johnny Appleseed stories. He was in the center of Mansfield, Ohio, and somebody was asking him about heaven, and he, as I said, it was a literal place where you had a home and you had a job, and just like you had on Earth. And some fellow asked him, "Well, what do you do? Do you do the same thing you did on Earth?" And he says, "Oh yeah, you have the same job when you get up there." And the guy says, "Well, I'm a grave digger. What am I going to do?"
Yeah, there's no work for you up here.
So everybody laughed. And then another guy to test him said, "Well, I'm a lawyer. What am I going to do?" He goes, "Oh, you guys don't go to heaven." He goes, "You guys go to hell,
Yeah.
and you're mired in mud up to your knees, and you sling it at each other for the rest of
Oh
eternity."
boy.
So it doesn't bode well for me, but in any event, interesting character to say the least.
And he loved animal. And some people find it strange that he would, be so connected to the wildlife and animals. And I think to myself, what are you talking about? There are more dogs and pets in my neighborhood than there are people or kids.
Yeah.
And, look at the clerk's office. How many dogs are registered? There are more dogs than people in Leominster.
He did. He had a very deep. He was a vegetarian.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hurt plants or animals. He was very careful. If he was walking on a trail, he didn't want to step on anything, a snake or any other kind of
Right.
animal. He was a interesting character to say the least.
And there are a lot of people that are like that now, right? I mean, he was ahead of his time. Caller, welcome to the show. Hey, Crystal's here.
Hi, Crystal.
It's Happy National Supermarket Day, right?
I thought it was Chili Day too.
The hamburgers took good care of us.
I see that. Mark takes good care of you down here at Hannaford, right?
It was Italian Day in the break room.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, food's food. I'll take anything, but Italian food is good stuff
But
too.
Cassie's the new assistant manager I told you about. She made homemade spaghetti sauce.
Oh, that's okay. Just throw a little butter or olive oil on it. Just as good.
Yeah.
Hi.
So they all told you to say hi and they want to meet you again.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Nice to hear from you, Crystal. Bye.
978-534-1626. It's the big year for Johnny Appleseed. You're going to have to wait another 25 years for him, 50 years.
Before you get to 300.
300. I won't be part of that festival. I will not be part of it.
You won't be mayor then?
And I won't be anything. I won't be around by then, but 300 years. 250 is more exciting, though.
Yeah, I like 250. It's
I can
got a
remember-
good ring to it.
I can remember we went down, I think it was my grandfather, we went down when everybody was at the post office.
Yeah.
And stand in line to get your stamps.
The first day issues.
It was a big deal. Like, it was a really big
there's
deal.
an interesting story about that. There was a competition because Fort Wayne, Indiana, of course, is where
Right.
he's buried and died. So there were a bunch of, there was a folklore series of stamps issued in 1966. There were 6 stamps. Johnny Appleseed was the first one. There was Grandma Moses. There was Tom Sawyer. There was Davy Crockett.
Maybe it was Davy Crockett I went to see. It was somebody.
And the first one issued was Johnny Appleseed. And it was a question of where the first day issue was going to be. And we had Congressman Philbin.
That's right.
And he must have had more horsepower than the guy in Indiana.
He had a lot of power.
Because he got the first day issue to be here in Leominster.
Right.
And they had a big crowd there, 350 people. And
Have
they
you ever
sold
seen
a
any
lot of
pictures
stamps.
of the crowd that was there? Because
I have
I
not.
have not seen a
Me either.
picture
Me either.
or a postcard or anything.
I have speeches. I
Yes.
have newspaper articles. But I don't have a picture.
You would think that a big event like that, somebody's got some pictures
Somewhere
out there.
out there.
Somebody's going to be at a flea market
It might
or
be in
something.
a private collection.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it so
Your brother
interesting.
Frank has to go find that.
I don't know,
He's
man.
good at that.
He finds all this stuff and he remembers it. And it's
Yeah.
like people call me all the time. Can you check with your brother to find out who used to live next to me in 1976? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, good. Ask him, and he'll know.
Yeah,
And he
it's
also
good.
understands the connections be people. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people. Anybody that immigrated here to the United States, as time goes on, they're not even sure who their cousins are or
Right.
whatever. So my brother spent a lot of time telling people, you're related to so-and-so, and they're like, I am? Like,
He knew, yeah. We were young lawyers in the Leominster District Court back in the day. Judge Gettins, Fernie Orell, George Smith. It was great. I mean, he was entertaining. He entertained me.
He figured if he's going to get through the day, because a lot of time waiting in the halls of justice, you got to at least make it funny and entertaining.
Sure.
So you have a book for sale, and this is on Johnny Appleseed, but you have 13 others.
Yeah.
And are you doing anything soon that you'll be set up if people are interested by the book? If not,
I don't have any. It's been a busy season. As you know, I got a little election thing going on too for state committee, but it's just keeping me busy. That ends on March 5th, thankfully.
Let's talk about that for a second, because we talked a lot about, and I get at least a call or two a week from, and I did one today, not an intervention, just why can't government work? I mean, and I think people have given up on Washington. They're like, I don't know if they're ever going to make that thing work. The state is a little, better, but I still think, that people kind of think that decisions are made in the state by a few people, and then you get local.
Well,
and everything is, as Tip O'Neill said.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm running for an office that, and this is no fault to anybody. Frankly, I didn't know much about it before I started to run for it. It's not understood.
Right.
So I'm running for a Republican state committee. There's 40 senatorial districts in Massachusetts, and each district elects a man and a woman. My running mate is Beth Lindstrom, who I met years ago. Yep. She ran for the U.S. Senate. Beth got Scott Brown elected to the Senate. Yeah. Great lady, moderate Republican like me. We sort of fiscally conservative, but moderate on social issues. It's been interesting, but what I've learned in the process is people need to learn how to talk to each other. Like the art of compromise, the art of respectful discussion. Sometimes I've had a couple people on social media say, geez, I could never vote for somebody with an R next to their name. Okay, well, what do you think? I said, is this a respectful tone?
Yeah, pull the R away.
What do you want to see in government? What are your solutions? What do you think? And I said, I'm not trying to be a smart guy. I just really want to understand what it is you are thinking about. And we have a discussion. We find out we agree on more than we disagree on. Right. And people have to understand this whole country was founded on major compromises, not the least of which was our bicameral legislature. Right. Back in the time of the Constitutional Convention, there was the big states wanted, representation only by population. The little states wanted an even representation. 2 people for every state. Everybody gets the same side, regardless of the size of the state. And Franklin puts together the biggest compromise of all, because the Senate is the same, two representatives or 2 senators per state, and the House is based on population.
Right.
So, I mean, if they could do it, everybody thinks no one thinks the Constitution isn't great. Right. Why can't we do it today?
Right. And we spend so much time and effort and so much on the news. And so at least once or twice a week, I'll get a call from another city somewhere. It isn't always in Massachusetts. And the question will be, I just don't understand how you guys do this. How does this happen? And I said, well, first, it's nonpartisan. If you get into New York, some of my friends were mayors out there, and they had to run as like a slate. They ran like Republican or Democrat or Independent, whatever. Yeah. We don't have to do that. And so really, if I was to stop most people in the street and say, all right, there are 9 city councils and a mayor, how are they registered? Are they registered as unenrolled?
They don't know.
They don't know, because we don't have to do that partisan politics.
I think in Leominster we have 4 registered Republicans, 4 registered Democrats, and 1 independent, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But
I'm unenrolled.
Non-enrolled mayor. The story I tell is, we've managed to get along despite party, and we've managed to do some incredible things in this city. And obviously, Mr. Mayor, you deserve a ton of credit for this.
Team effort, sure.
But it's just amazing what we've done here.
And it proves no matter what size town or city you have, it could be done. Right. And you could really actually, whereas I think the perception is just any government can't work. It wasn't set up to work. And to some extent, government was made to move slow. Would you agree?
Right.
Things don't happen unless it's an emergency. It was really set up to kind of
to deliberate.
Yeah, let's have some time to think about what's the hurry, blah blah. Unless it's an emergency.
But what we've accomplished here, I mean, having a pension nearly fully funded or fully funded, depending on the investment
what the stock market is doing, sure.
That by itself sets us apart. But then you add to it excess levy capacity of 5.5%. which most communities can't say that.
Yeah.
And then, the police station without changing the tax rate fundamentally. We've now got the paramedics on the ambulances.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one thing
So
after
you
another.
can do things, and government can work. And so the question will be, well, how do you guys do this? I'm like, well, first of all, you got to talk to people.
Right.
Yeah, you got to talk to people, whether they're completely against your project or not. That's just one thing. You're going to move on to something else.
We have to laud the citizens. They're the ones who pay the taxes.
Yeah, of course.
They're the ones who they're the ones who invest, maintain their properties, keep the city looking nice. They've done an amazing job, and we're really fortunate. I think Leominster's always been a special place, going way back. As I look at the history of the city, the pioneers, as you said, that we've had.
Sure.
People like Robert Cormier, people like Johnny Appleseed, but people like, for instance, the Fosters, Sam Foster and Joe
Foster
Foster.
Grant, sure.
And perfected the injection molding machine in Leominster. Created
Bernie
the plastic.
Doyle.
Bernard
That
Doyle.
guy's had more patents and things.
Basically revolutionized plastic as a raw material.
Right.
The industry of plastic as a raw material. I mean, the people. I mean, Lou Little, the iconic football coach. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We've had a great group of citizens that have been proud to call this place home.
978-534-1626 if you have any questions at all. But yeah, a whole lot of things planned for Johnny Appleseed's birthday. And if somebody wants to reach out to Mark, he'd be glad to get you not just this book, but I know people have bought several, and this kind of winter reading, and then there's summer reading.
I'm proud. I got two companies looking at documentaries of both the basketball books, Sam Jones and JoJo White.
That would be fun, huh?
Yeah. So
good people, and you brought them to Leominster, and there's so many people that came in contact with them and said, "Wow, these are not just incredible." Incredible athletes, but really special and nice people.
Incredible people.
Yeah.
I mean, JoJo, sat there one day. We were in Iowa, of all places, Dubuque, Iowa. He's in front of a sports management class, and he gets up, and after I talk about I was like a straight man. I talk about his career. And he gets up, and God gave me talents that they're not mine to keep. He says, I gotta share them. I gotta give them away. He goes, especially with the young people coming up. And he says, but the funny thing is, he says, the more I try to give them away, the more they come back. The more the love comes back.
That's his reward,
me.
sure.
Yeah, just a special guy.
It's like respect.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we have? We got a couple minutes left, and then we're going to take a break, and then we'll get on with the rest of this pile here. But I mean, I think it'll be exciting to celebrate his birthday. Yeah, nobody ever wrote or said anything bad about Johnny Appleseed that I can find. I know there was some hard cider involved here somewhere along the line, but hey, listen, But other than that, it's just one of those, I remember Tucker Hazard when he was at the Historic Society, and he had these stickers printed up that said, "Bring Johnny back," and people would say, "What's that mean?" I said, let's bring him back to his birthplace. They're like, yeah, but he's buried. I
appreciate that story because I put that in the book too.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And it's funny because they're not exactly sure where he's buried, so he might not dig in the right place.
That's true. And there were so many things about Johnny Appleseed, and I think for a little while, I know when I first got elected, those first couple of years, anytime we talked about Johnny Appleseed, for some reason, it seemed at the time, it was like, oh man, more Johnny Appleseed. Get a Johnny Appleseed Plaza, Johnny Appleseed School, Johnny Appleseed this, Johnny Appleseed that. And I think
we brought Mrs. Drake into the conversation.
Exactly right. So you get it all interesting here. If anybody wants to see it, on Johnny Appleseed Lane, the Center for Technical Education built a new house for Johnny up there. So the other one we were going to take and move it to the visitor center. They had asked if we could, move it there, and I said, sure, we're going to build a new one anyway. And I guess when they picked it up, the thing been there for 40 or 50 years. It just like disintegrated. Yeah. So anyway, they built a new one, and we tried to get it to reflect a building that would have been in that area of Johnny Appleseed. It would have been near the Nashua River, something sort of a replica. And we're going to do actually two more. One that will go on the side of when you come in off the connector.
Right.
You see the sign that says the mall or whatever. There's that little field. We want to put one there. And also at the visitor center, because it's called the Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center. Yeah. And so it's exciting, and it is so fun to hear people talk about it and then realize that, well, sometimes, as well as I do, they don't think it's a real person.
No, One guy, Howard Means, wrote a biography on Johnny back in 2010. He did a study. They found 42% of Americans didn't think he was a real guy.
Yeah. And Dennis Day, who, remember I sent you the song?
Yes.
Dennis Day is like Jack Benny. If anybody watched Jack Benny, he was the guy that they had him singing like, 5 times in a show. Then I actually think they gave him his own show, but he sang the Johnny Appleseed song, which is really special because he was a really talented
Two
singer.
pieces of film. There's a Daniel Boone, remember that TV show episode with Johnny Appleseed? Priceless.
Yeah.
And the 1948 Melody Time short by the Disney company on Johnny Appleseed, priceless. If anybody gets a chance to watch them, they're great. Really, really nostalgic.
There was another Tucker
stuff.
thing. He sent me down when I was going to Disney and set this thing up. He always had a pan on his head, and that always aggravated, Tucker and many others. Historians are like, he didn't have a pan on. Who would walk around with a pan on their head? And Disney absolutely refused to change it. They're like, nah, we're sticking with this. This is, this is pretty good part of the story, right? All right, Mark, thank you very much. We'll have you on again and talk about anything. As you got things to come up, we'll do updates on
Sounds good.
And if anybody has any ideas. So ideas have to be backed up with, like, people that actually, like a little committee of people to do them, and that's how we've done these things, and that's why they've been successful, is people say, hey, have you thought about this? And like, yeah, but is there a way for people to get together to kind of put these things together so that you can actually, and that would be really helpful. Anyway, we're taking a short break, and we'll be right back with more Inside Leominster.
Here, talking about another young sugar maple. With many species of trees, the bark starts off very smooth when they're younger and will change as it develops and grows larger in size. So here we can see the relatively smooth bark of the young sugar maple, but even in this we can start to see some little kind of warty patterns emerging, like we can see on this larger, slightly older tree here. Still very smooth bark with some vertical cracks and some kind of warty texture starting to emerge. And then as they get older, the bark will really start to crack a lot more and develop into this really shaggy, kind of platey, scaly appearance. But we'll take a look at another larger individual and get a good look at that.
And we're back here at Inside Leominster. Little extra music, a few extra bars, that's okay. Hey, we're back, and if you have any questions or anything, you could give us a call. That was a good segment. I want to tell you that if you would like to donate blood next Wednesday, which is the last day, can you believe it? Is it? Or next Thursday is the last day of the month? Anyway, it's coming quick. 29th would be the last day. And 9 to 2:30 over at the public library, right out front, you see the bus. And you could call us at City Hall, and we'd be glad to connect you and get you registered. Lenten dinners over at, they continue right through until March 22nd, 4 to 7 o'clock. And they have those fish dinners over there at St. Anna's. And, geez, they give you big haddock, coleslaw, vegetable, everything you can ever imagine. So right over there at St. Anna's in the church hall. And we have a household hazardous waste day coming up on March 16th. We'll remind you as we get closer. And over at the public library tomorrow is craft meet and greet with Angela Thomas and her therapy dog. And then Galaxies Jazz with Burncoat Center for Art and Wellness. And then Lego Library. Library Lego Friends at 3 o'clock on Saturday, and remember they're always open on Sunday from 1 to 5 at the public library. Pretty good. And they already have, look at that, the whole schedule for next month. LeominsterLibrary.org. And as we say all the time, if you need to find anything out, go to leominster-ma.gov. That's our website, and you can find anything that I talk about tonight on that site. Also, if you know anybody, kids that are looking for, young adults that are looking for a job for the summer, we're hiring at the Leominster Rec Department for this coming summer, 534-7529. And then we have a health and wellness fair coming up March 28th and at City Hall. And if you're interested at all, you can call our health department if you'd like to be a vendor. Pretty good. Babysitting classes. Yeah. Babysitting classes coming up March 4th and 6th. That's at the emergency management. There is a fee for it. It's, I think it's like $90 if you're a resident, $110 if you're a non-resident. And let's see, Saturday, April 6th, 9 to 12, Leominster City Hall Auditorium, calling all Leominster area Boys and Girl Scouts. Work towards your civics democracy badge with Leominster elected officials. Learn about various aspects of local government with the people who make it all happen. And for more information, you can call my office at 978-534-7500. What are you doing there with 2 cups? Oh, we're going to eat something?
Let's pop it.
Oh. All right, let me see. I'll do some slides, but let's do, you want to do, yeah, let's pop it. All right, let's give it a shot.
You got your...
Let's pop it. Here we go. Ooh, look at that. It looks healthy. Here we go. Ready? The tea of the week. Oppenheimer wins 7 prizes as the best, what is it?
At the BAFTAs, British Academy Awards.
Oh, the British Academy Awards. Okay. So has anybody seen the movie? Is it worth watching?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay. I mean, really most everybody that's seen it said it was a good movie. February 19th.
Yeah, that's Kanye West.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Has a #1 album for the 11th time with Vultures at #1. Is he walking around with his girlfriend at all? Huh? See? She knows what I'm talking about back there, right? And then February 20th, Oscar winner filmmaker Sam Mendes plans 4 individual Beatles biopic for 2027.
Yeah, he's filming 4 movies at once about...
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, you think? At all?
No.
No? Just piecing together, making it enough?
He's a theater director, so he can handle like a lot of chaos.
So he will piece this together and make it all so exciting that since we can't see him play again, we can see him on screen.
Yeah.
How fun. Cell phone out. Yeah, so is it back on yet?
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, they were telling you ways of how you could text through AT&T. How do you have a cell phone outage? I mean, I thought this whole thing was set up to be reliable.
Verizon
You know?
did it last week.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's going on. So if you have cell phone reception a little jogged today, it's because of, I wonder if it's sabotage or it's you know, somebody tried to take the system over and holding it ransom.
Wasn't the premise of a James Bond movie?
Yeah, this stuff is, I mean, come on. I mean, they say they're just full-time boiler rooms just doing this stuff, hacking away at it, and if you don't give us money, we're just going to keep going. Okay, fun facts. Zoomers and millennials are the generations that are most interested in vegetarian, vegan, and clean conscious eating. Okay. No, I think they are, but it's marketed. It's how it's to make you think it's healthy. So I stopped at a place that's supposed to be like, you know, known across the country for healthy food. Yeah. And I said, I'm just going to grab and go kind of thing and hit the road because I was in a hurry as I'm dropping like mayonnaise or mustard on my tie and stuff. And I started reading the ingredients. There was 1,200 milligrams of salt. 1,200. That would kill a giant. 1,200. And I thought it was at a place that had healthy food, and they were killing me. So it tasted good, and it probably had like organic lettuce in it from, you know. But 1,200 milligrams of salt? That should have had a warning label on it. All right, Zoomers are consuming 550 more dairy-free milk beverages than prior generations. Yeah, I believe that, but you got to watch out, like soy milk. You know, soy milk's got some, you know, side effects kind of things to soy milk and some of these other things. So buyer beware, I'd say. Yes, I think Zoomers are more conscious of their diet and how they look and going to the gym and all that stuff. I think that it's the me generation, I think, right? Would you say? A me party, you know, all that. I'm having a me party. 10% of young people describe their diet as vegetarian, 7% as vegan, plant-based, and 6% as, what is it? Is it pescatarian? Okay. Just by the way, I'm colorblind, so seeing these colors is really, really hard. I can see shades of letters up there. It's okay, but I'm doing okay, right? I am reading it. The other thing is, you know what I read the other day? Zoomers and Generation Z, they are more inclined to, so say you went for an interview, they're less inclined to A, respond after, and B, you feel bad about it. Like, and we've had this happen where people put in for jobs, and then we send them home with like a packet to fill out, you know, just general information, and then we never hear from them. Or we want to offer them the job, and we just never hear from them. Like, nothing. Do you think that's true? Because it's not that feeling like I did anything wrong. It's more like, hey, if they didn't like what I was doing, they would just call me in and send me off. You think that at all? But it was a really high amount. Baby boomers, the boomers, weren't that far behind. I mean, you'd be surprised how many didn't feel like they owed anybody an explanation. What happened to the day where a follow-up would bring chocolate chip cookies? Where you'd be looking to get the job and you'd either bring chocolate chip cookies or you'd follow it up with one of those Instagram cookie things there. You know, the what is it called? The
emoji?
No, the actual cookie. It used to be a place that did cookies, and they deliver them. It's kind of like the guy on Central Street that does the fruit there.
There's Cookie Monster does it.
Yeah, Cookie Monster does that, but there's a couple of people around. Anyway, let's see, 79% of Zoomers eat meatless 1 day a week, and 65% say they want a more plant-forward diet. I don't know. I want to make sure this stuff is healthy, like you're eating stuff that's good for you, right? And 70% of Zoomers prefer to eat healthy food when dining out. And my friend was telling me the other day, he's a chef in Boston, at a Boston restaurant. Everybody's got an allergy, he says. You know, they have this little printout machine. He says the thing goes, everybody, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't eat this, it's got to be this, and nothing can touch this. He said, how could this be? This is the healthiest society, the healthiest we've ever been, and everybody has an allergy. Are you having an allergy there, Mia? You do what?
I'm allergic to almonds.
Almonds. Just almonds? Like, how do we find this out? Like, who's the first person that says, hey, you, come over here. Well, you're going to try almonds to see if you...
Test your blood.
Yeah, today. They test
food allergy tests.
Yeah, I know. I've been through all that stuff for like hours. All right, so anyway, they prefer like sweet green dig and kava and some of the most popular restaurants among Generation Z. They're health and sustainable options, okay? Or they make you think they are. I don't know. There's still a lot out there that's not, all right, what do we got?
So.
All right, what is this?
These are.
Oh my God, I can imagine.
They're juices from roots. This is the sweet green. It is kale, mango.
That's actually good.
Apple, and I think there's strawberries in that.
That's good. That's good.
This is the more fruit-based one. This is the Blue Moon harvest. That is bananas, strawberries, apples. I think there's some cinnamon in there.
That's good. Both of them are good. Thumbs up.
But
yeah, roots.
All that's in it are the vegetables and the fruits. There's nothing else in there. No added sugars.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
There used to be a place, people that are watching right now, there used to be a place across the street from the post office. It was called Mirkwood. It was the first health food store around. And you know who owned it?
No.
The owner of Roots?
Oh, really?
Her mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right, let's go. Check the stats. 50% of Generation Z rely on social media for healthy eating advice. 71% of Generation Z makes an effort to eat healthy food at home. 80% I can't see because I'm in the way. Millennials consider health benefits when selecting food. How to eat like a Zoomer or a millennial? Look for plant-based alternatives for animal products and meat. Focus on digestive and gut health by looking for ingredients or dishes made with organic, fresh, and sustainable foods. Download TikTok or Instagram to help you find a new restaurant. Search for globally inspired flavors. Try to buy foods labeled no GMOs. Order your meals via apps and online for food delivery services. Are you more hip than a teenager? What is flexitarian? I'm a flexitarian. It means that I can talk to the animals as easy as I can talk to a human being. And on and off vegan or vegetarian in a lifestyle. So while I'm home eating Doritos, I'm off. But when I'm out with my friends, I want to show them that I'm vegan, right? You know, people do that. They go out to eat when they're in public. They're drinking diet soda and eating healthy and salads. When they go home, it's like, bring another bag of those Doritos in. All right, let's do some. Do we have pictures of the week? All right, let's get ready. Get ready, because here I come. Maintenance has started the Fallbrook water treatment plant, including the project and a new filter system. That's to make your water more better, right? It brings the standards up and increases the quality. 7 new members of the emergency management were sworn in. I think that was last week at emergency management. Thanks and welcome to them. Learning about science with the recreation department, again, a big hit for all of our programs. There's movie night. They get to build their own cars and vehicles, and then they sit. It's like a drive-in, and they get to watch the movie. Filming of MassDOT documentary. That's me. They sat there and asked me like hard questions about MassDOT. No, actually, we had a good time. New rugs at City Hall to prevent trip or slip and fall. And you know, when you come in those marble floors, you want to make sure your feet are nice and dry, because the wrong shoes with some water on the ground from snow or ice or rainstorm. And so we've got those absorbed. Animal Adventures was a packed house. Look at the place. Packed. And the orchestra comes to City Hall. They were absolutely fabulous. They did such a nice job. Fundraiser over at St. Anna's this week, 7 o'clock on Saturday. And they're raising money to replace their new boiler over there because they had it. Celebration, a year of hard work, and we went down to Chopsticks with the staff at the mayor's office and the hibachi. Have you been to that experience? Yeah. A little bit of salt in there, right? A little butter, you know. But don't worry, it was vegetables, so it was healthy.
With steak.
And there's Teresa Rice. And I told her son, Kevin, last year, he said, you know, my mother's going to be 100 next year. Would you come to her birthday? I said, are you kidding me? And that year went by quick. And she loves purple. Her cake was purple. The balloons were purple. Teresa Rice, a happy 100th birthday. That's it, kids. We're out of time here at St. Leominster. Time is the same whether you're a millennium, right? Yeah. Whether you're a Zoomer, right? No matter which you are, time is the same, and we're out of time. Thanks for watching. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisInsuranceAgency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.